Hello. In tonight's video, we're going to be reviewing the SDO and an interesting issue I encountered with working with it. Um, Here is my SEO. It's a jdbc service, which is a more direct than calling a web service. And basically, all I'm doing is calling it and then invoking it. It's very simple at this point. I'll probably do something more with it later. But I really wanted to just experiment with the SDO and find out exactly what I needed to do in order for it to work properly. And if we look at the service interface here, you can see that I have selected most of the operations that are available. And if we go over to the configurations for it, you can see that the data source that I have selected is this. Now this is what was written in this data source name when I created the service interface. And you can see that jdbc is written here and ds, and that refers to this here, jdbc/ds. And I also have a last logging, basically on the transaction level, supports global transactions and last logging resource. It is a let's see where, Oracle perhaps. Trying to find the driver for it. That's not it. Here is the driver class name. It's just a jdbc driver. Whereas if we go back and we look at the flash ds, and you can see that it's the XA data source. Okay, so it's different in that regard. So why am I reviewing this? Well, let's take a look at the application in its use. Again, if we go back, you can see that basically I am grabbing the data and I'm doing just the get flash codes view, okay, which should give me a section of data. I have it out on the server, and if we go out to my here, sorry, that's the wrong. You can see that there are some errors, hence the video. Okay, so I'm going to go to the table and I'm just going to, sorry, let's see, I'll get this one, 621, and I'm just going to put an X in there. It's a required field, but I'm not using it at this point. So let's take a look. Here you can see that there is a faulted area here, and if we take a look at it, it doesn't look like there's any problem here. There's a invoke. It actually got the data that I wanted. So you see 621 is XSD, but there is something wrong. And if we go out to the WebLogic daemon here, you can see that there is some information here. Now this is why I had introduced the last logging resource recommended for this, the flash data source. And you can see that there was a problem. I'm rather surprised that the flash or the XA data source, the jdbc driver does not support the XA, but in fact we saw that the driver was in fact XA for the DS. Okay, flash DS. So something was very difficult to find out what the problem was. So eventually I created a flash DSLLR, and this one just a second, can't have that or it just freezes. You can see that my jdbc is flash LLR, and the general, let's see, transactions, here we are. You can see last logging resources selected, which if you choose the XA data source, these aren't even available. Okay, so let's change it to LLR in my, I'm going to close this one just so we don't get confused. Flash codes, open it up, change it to LLR. And I'm going to deploy it. Okay, it's been deployed. And let's go out to our Enterprise Manager again, and we'll test the web service. Let's just do it again. There it goes, 243. I didn't see if it changed or not. And you can see that it's definitely faulted here. And if we go out and we look at the payload, it actually gives a message here. So what was my solution? It's just extremely difficult to understand. Well, on a lark, I basically decided that I would take out the first part of the text, and I'll deploy it now. Okay, I've updated it, and we are now redeploying that application. I'm going to close this window out. Here. And as soon as it's done, there it is, deployment finished. We'll go out and we'll just test it again. 207, it's run. Sometimes I open this window a little too quickly and it doesn't write everything. And there's no mistake, no error. You can see that I have my invoke. There's the data I wanted. And the interesting thing is that if we go back and we go to the application module, and we even take out the LLR, so we just have flash jdbc. You can tell that I've done this all evening in preparation for this video. Okay, deployment is finished. We will click it. 127. And so now, oh, I ran that too quickly. Let me just open this again. Takes a minute for it to get the process there. And now you can see that there's no error, and we even have the data. Well, we had the data the first time, but there was a fault somewhere, and it wasn't clear where. And I think if we go out here, there is an error here, but that could be something to do with something else. I have an idea. We're going to move this down and move this up. Didn't see anything happen here. Let's just move that. Whoop. Windows are bouncing around a little bit. Let's do that again. And I'm going to move it up so I can see the... I'm going to move it to another window. You'll just have to trust that I'm running it. Yeah, that ran. And that ran again. And basically just gives a little error there. So at any rate, it seems to be working. And these errors here must be from another issue, from the previous issue. So the idea is that if you change the jdbc to that and take out the initial part that was originally there, it runs fine. And that is the whole problem I encountered, and it took several days to figure out. And such is the learning curve. I hope this is interesting. Have a good evening.